Have you ever noticed how easily you lose yourself when things don't go your way? A delay, a harsh word, a sudden change, and before you even realize it, your peace has already been taken. You tell yourself you're in control, but control is not tested when everything goes right. It's revealed when life turns against you. Most people live in reaction. They are driven not by will, but by impulse, pulled by emotions, pushed by circumstances. They confuse movement with mastery and noise with progress. But Stoics knew something deeper. If you do not rule your own mind, life will rule it for you. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Yet most people never realize this truth. They fight the world, not their reactions. They try to fix everything outside them, the people, the traffic, the outcomes, while their own emotions remain wild and untamed. And so life begins to control them. They are happy when things go well, angry when things fall apart, fearful when uncertain. Their inner peace depends on the weather, calm when it's sunny, broken when it storms. But the Stoic path begins with awareness. The awareness that control is not about domination or power over others. It's about mastery of self. Control yourself, your thoughts, your impulses, your reactions, before life does it for you in ways you will not like. Because the truth is this: life will test you every single day, and if you don't train your mind to stay steady, you will be a slave to every change that happens around you. Control is not about suppressing emotion. It's about understanding it. It's not about avoiding difficulty. It's about choosing your response. The Stoic stands firm, not because the storm is weak, but because his roots are deep. This is where mastery begins, not in changing life, but in refusing to be changed by it. Control, real control, is not about force. It's not about making everything bend to your will. It's about aligning yourself with what you can shape and letting go of everything you cannot. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, the most important idea in Stoic philosophy. Epictetus said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Simple. But it is a truth that can take an entire lifetime to understand, because your mind wants to control everything: how others act, how people see you, how your plans unfold. You spend hours worrying about outcomes, forgetting that worry never changed a single event in history. The Stoics didn't waste their energy on what was beyond their reach. They practiced detachment not from life, but from illusion. They accepted reality as it was, then focused entirely on what could be improved: their thoughts, their discipline, their response. To them, control was never about power over the world, it was about power over the self. Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, illness, war, and loss. He ruled an empire but still wrote every night in his private journal, "Do not waste what remains of your life in worrying about others, unless it affects the common good. It will rob you of peace." He knew what most people never learn, that peace and power come from the same source, inner order. When your mind is ruled by emotion, life becomes chaotic, unpredictable, reactive, exhausting. You become like a leaf tossed in the wind, moved by everything and anchored by nothing. But when your mind is disciplined, even the storm feels like silence. You begin to see that the only true freedom is freedom from the need to control what's not yours to control. The Stoic doesn't fight the river, he learns to swim with it. He understands that life flows, changes, breaks, and rebuilds, and that his strength lies not in resistance, but in remaining calm, centered, and aware. You cannot stop the world from being what it is: unpredictable, unfair, temporary. but you can stop yourself from being destroyed by it. That's the Stoic truth. Life doesn't owe you control. It only offers you one choice: to master your reaction or to be mastered by it. The world outside you will always shift, but the world inside you that can become unshakable. And that, the Stoics believed, is where real power begins. There's a war that happens quietly inside you, not with noise, not with weapons, but with thoughts. It starts when life doesn't go your way. Someone disrespects you. Plans fall apart. People disappoint you, and suddenly your peace feels fragile, your patience thin. You want to stay calm, but anger rises. You want to let go, but your mind keeps replaying the moment again and again. And before you realize it, you've lost control, not to the world, but to yourself. The Stoics understood this moment well. It's the instant when the mind forgets its training, when ego and emotion take the throne that reason once held. Seneca wrote, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is. It's not what happens to you that breaks your peace, it's how you interpret it." But in those heated moments, logic disappears. You feel the pull of pride, the need to prove you're right, the need to defend your name, the need to be seen, heard, validated. This is the silent trap, because the more you react, the less control you have. The more you chase validation, the more you lose yourself. You start shaping your behavior around others, what they think, how they respond, what they give or take. Your peace becomes a currency traded for approval, and that is how many people live, controlled by the world they wish to control. The Stoics would call this slavery of the mind. They believed freedom doesn't begin with breaking chains, but with mastering impulses. How often do you scroll through a screen and feel your focus scatter? How often do you speak before thinking, act before breathing, or let one rude comment ruin an entire day? That's the inner conflict, the battle between your higher self, calm, rational, observant, and your lower self, impulsive, reactive, emotional. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That means the fight isn't against others, it's against your own untrained mind. You think discipline is about effort, but true discipline is about restraint. It's about knowing when to act and when to let silence do the talking. It's the strength to feel emotion without becoming it. Every time you lose your temper, every time you react without thought, you hand your power away, piece by piece. And the world, in its chaos, will always offer reasons to lose control. But control isn't something you find in comfort. It's forged in discomfort. It's built in those small, invisible choices to stay silent when ego screams, to breathe when anger burns, to walk away when your pride wants to fight. That's where the real battle is fought, not in the world outside, but in the quiet corners of your own mind. Because every day you are given the same test. Will you control yourself or let life control you? There comes a moment when you finally see it, the truth you've been running from. You realize that life was never trying to control you. It was only revealing how little control you had over yourself. Every difficult person, every frustrating delay, every failure, they weren't obstacles. They were mirrors, each one reflecting your impatience, your ego, your emotional attachment to control. And suddenly it clicks. Peace was never about fixing the world around you. It was about mastering the world within. You remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the moment of awakening, when you stop fighting life and start observing it, when you stop reacting and start responding, when you stop demanding calm from others and begin creating it in yourself. At first, it feels like surrender, to not respond, to not chase, to not prove, but slowly you feel something shift. Silence starts to feel stronger than argument. Patience starts to feel heavier than anger. Stillness starts to feel like control. You realize, the more you try to control others, the weaker you become. The more you control yourself, the freer you feel. Epictetus taught that discipline begins with perception, seeing things as they are, not as your emotions paint them. He said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." That line becomes your compass. You start to notice when judgment tries to twist reality. You feel anger rise, but now you can watch it, like a storm outside your window. It no longer pulls you in, you observe it, you breathe, you wait, and like all storms it passes. You start to see the hidden gift in every moment of discomfort. The person who disrespects you becomes your teacher of patience. The delay becomes your lesson in acceptance. The rejection becomes your test of self-worth. You stop labeling moments as good or bad. You just see them as training. Because that's what the Stoics believed life to be, a training ground for the soul. Every day, life throws you situations not to punish you, but to sharpen you, to reveal the parts of you still ruled by impulse and ego. And when you begin to face these trials with calm, you start to feel something ancient inside you, a quiet power. It doesn't need recognition. It doesn't crave validation. It simply is. That's the strength of the Stoic, the ability to be unmoved in a world addicted to reaction, to walk through chaos with steady steps, to feel the flame of anger without letting it burn your peace, to let go and yet remain in full command. That's when you understand control is not about holding tighter. It's about holding wiser. It's not about bending life to your will, but bending your will to life. You realize you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to stand still while they crash. And that's where true freedom begins. Now comes the hardest part, turning realization into routine. Understanding is easy, living it, that's where true discipline is tested. The Stoics never worshipped theory. They believed wisdom meant nothing unless it changed how you lived, how you breathed, how you reacted when no one was watching. So, if you want to control yourself before life controls you, you must train your mind like a warrior trains his sword. Not once, but every day. Start small. Control your morning. When your alarm rings, don't negotiate with weakness. Rise before the mind starts whispering excuses. This single act, standing up when comfort tells you not to, is how the day bends in your favor. Because the first victory of the day is not against the world, it's against yourself. Then, as the world begins to pull at your attention, emails, notifications, people, pause. Don't let the noise own your focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are disturbed by external things, it is not by the things themselves, but by your opinion of them, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." So when anger rises, breathe. When you feel insulted, wait. When you're about to reply impulsively, don't. That moment of restraint, that small silence, is where the power of a Stoic lives. You start to realize that self-control is not suppression. It's redirection. You don't fight emotions. You channel them. You turn anger into focus. You turn fear into awareness. You turn pain into patience. And slowly, the chaos of life begins to look different. What used to trigger you now teaches you. What used to break you now builds you. This is not because life became easier. It's because you became harder to shake. The Stoics trained themselves to expect discomfort. To them, Adversity was not an interruption, it was an invitation. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." So, you stop running from difficulty. You walk into it calmly. You stop fearing failure. You study it, learn from it, adapt. Every time you endure something you once avoided, you grow quieter inside. More stable, more composed. Control becomes less about dominance and more about direction, steering your mind toward clarity instead of chaos. You practice detachment not to become cold, but to stay warm in a world that tries to freeze you with judgment, noise, and comparison. When something good happens, you enjoy it, but you don't cling. When something bad happens, you feel it, but you don't drown. You begin to see that nothing truly belongs to you, not praise, not possessions, not even peace. Everything is borrowed. So you live with gratitude, not greed. In that mindset, every moment becomes training. Every challenge becomes a chance to refine your inner stillness. When someone argues, you let silence answer. When someone doubts you, you let results speak. When life throws uncertainty your way, you smile because now you know the truth. You can't control what happens, but you can always control how you respond. And that single truth is enough to change everything. You stop reacting to every emotion like it's an emergency. You learn to sit in discomfort until it teaches you something. You learn to walk through chaos with the same calm pace you'd walk through peace. That's the art of self-control, not to fight life, but to flow through it with wisdom. Each day, each moment, each choice becomes your practice ground, and every act of restraint, every pause before reaction, every breath before anger, it all adds up. Slowly, you build a fortress inside yourself, a place no chaos can enter, and there you begin to realize control isn't about power, it's about peace. There will come a day when life will test everything you've built, when nothing goes according to plan, when the people you trusted walk away, when the future you imagined collapses in silence, and in that moment, your training will speak for you. You won't panic, you won't break, you'll feel the storm, but you won't become it. You'll remember what the Stoics taught, that the world is not yours to control. Only your response is. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, betrayal, and death, yet he wrote in his journal, "Be like the rock against which the waves break, and it stands firm, while the raging of the sea falls still around it." This is not the absence of pain, it's the mastery of response, the calm strength that grows from knowing, no matter what happens outside, you remain free inside. Because true freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's having the strength to not be moved by everything you feel. Control yourself before life controls you. That is the heart of Stoic discipline, not dominance, not suppression, but inner direction. When you stop trying to control people, you become lighter. When you stop trying to control outcomes, you become wiser. And when you finally learn to control your own mind, you become unshakable. The Stoics were not gods. They were humans who simply refused to be ruled by chaos. They learned to turn emotion into insight, loss into lesson, fear into faith. And that's what you must do every single day. So when life tests you again, when someone provokes you, when plans fail, when pressure rises, breathe. Remember the discipline you've built. Remember the peace you've earned. Don't let the moment own you. Let it reveal you, because self-control is not about never feeling. It's about never being enslaved by what you feel. And the one who controls himself controls his destiny. The storms will still come. The noise will still surround you. But inside, there will be silence, the silence of a mind that no longer needs to fight everything to stay strong. That silence is freedom. Peace is not something you find. It's something you protect every moment with every choice.